One of the 4 class type options on OutSchool is a flex class, an opportunity to teach children around the world regardless of time zones, as all of your lessons are pre-recorded and assessment material is sent through an online portal. But how do teachers find success in flex classes in today's online marketplace? Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video was highly requested at the beginning of this year, and that is to talk all about flex classes, how they work, who they're for, and how they are booking in 2023. Side note, I have made previous videos on this class type. I will link them up above in the cards. Today's request was more specifically how to stand out and be successful with flex classes in today's online market. Be sure to stick around until the end of the video because I am going to share my biggest tip that has saved me countless times when it comes to time management with flex classes. Seriously, I wish I knew some of these things earlier. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kristen. I am a former classroom teacher turned online educator. On this channel, we talk all things work from home, online teaching, and passive income. So if you've not done so, make sure to subscribe by clicking that little red subscription button and the bell. We make new videos here each and every week. First and foremost, let's cover what is a flex class. Essentially, a flex class is a class that has no live meetings. Pre-recorded materials are distributed to learners who are enrolled in the class on a weekly basis, and depending on the subject you're teaching, you can also send follow-ups, assessments, even have discussions online. But the big difference here is no live meetings. The next question I get a lot is, who is a flex class for? The top 3 kinds of learners I've seen do the best in flex classes are the following. And yes, I made a list. Learners who may need more time to absorb the material. Students all learn different ways. Some learners can hear something one time, remember it. Others can write it down and remember it. Other learners need to have access to material, whether it be video, verbal, written, to retain and learn the material fully. Second are those learners who live in different time zones whose schedule would never allow them to take a class with you. For example, I live and teach in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. There may be learners all across the world who would love to take a class with me, but their schedule simply will not allow it. Having a flex option lets me send these lessons in a pre-recorded fashion so they still have access to learning the material. And honestly, the third kind of learner are just students who are busy. Now more than ever, the world seems to be going back to normal, however you want to define that, but students now will have after-school activities, extracurriculars, scheduled commitments, time with family, time with friends. They may be interested in a class you offer, may be in a good time zone, but their schedule still simply will not allow it. These are the top 3 kinds of learners I have seen do well in flex classes. If you are also an OutSchool teacher or an online teacher that offers a similar flex kind of class, let me know what kind of learners you see do well down below in the comments. Now, in my personal experience with flex classes, I did not actually make my first one until several months into my OutSchool journey. For those that maybe have joined this channel recently, I joined OutSchool in April of 2020, and I still went and did a full year of classroom teaching. At that time, I still wanted to provide lessons and material to students, but I was teaching that 8 to 4 schedule. That was not going to be an option for me at that time. So I very slowly put together my first flex class, and we'll cover some more of that later in this video because it is not easy to script a flex class. It's a completely different beast than lesson planning, live meetings, or making maybe resources for educators. Making a flex class is in itself just its own project, its own time commitment. Nevertheless, I did make 2 flex classes during my final year in the classroom. You can see I didn't just make a bunch and throw them up there as they did take time, but I did make 2 flex classes. I allowed 5 to 6 learners in each, but I did go back and look at my attendance and my enrollments. While I allowed up to 6 in each class, at that time, I was really only getting 1 to 3 enrollments anytime I would post it, and there were several months in the year that I got 0 enrollments. This was back in the late 2020s into 2021, early 2022. So you can see, looking at that data, learners and their families at that time wanted more live classes. This is probably a time when more students were quarantined, teach and learn from home was still happening on a more consistent basis. Now, in 2023, I am noticing an uptick in flex classes depending on the subject I'm teaching, even the day of the week I am teaching. And I will share with you what has worked well with me this year when it comes to flex classes. Now that we have my history with flex classes, I do want to share with you my biggest tips for finding success in the flex class creation. Number one, know how many weeks you want your class to be. I believe the recommended amount is 4 weeks at the very least. So how long do you want to teach your flex class? First and foremost, what are you teaching? And from there, what is the appropriate amount of weeks to successfully teach and give the material to your students? Second tip is to outline what topics you want covered each and every week. Kind of like how I script YouTube videos so I don't ramble, because I am the queen of doing that. When I make my flex classes, I want to be structured. I am not in a live setting with these learners, so it is more important than ever to get to the point, keep them engaged, and get through the material. And the best way to do that is to have outlines, bullet points. What are you covering this week? What are you waiting to cover until next week? What are you going to talk about at the beginning versus the end? And how can you make sure everything is covered in your entire course? Third tip comes when you are recording your materials, and that is honestly, take your time. If you are new to video creation, spoiler alert, I'm going to have an entire course about video creation, mainly on the YouTube platform, but either way, if you are new to filming yourself, being on camera, hearing yourself talk, this is not something you're just gonna shoot and post. Take your time. If you go back and listen to something and you don't like it, take the time to re-record it. My first flex class, I think the third week, like that third module, I recorded it at least 5 times because I didn't cover the right material. I got off topic. I actually, the third time, had to post more material. I didn't have enough. So I gave myself time. No deadlines with this flex class. I took my time and made sure everything was recorded and it was the best quality I could give those students. Tip number 4 is to ask questions at the end of each recorded class. While you are not in a live session with your students, you can, in the videos, let them know, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. I am going to post a discussion tab on our OutSchool class page this Wednesday at 12 Eastern Standard Time. Let me know your thoughts on this, things you liked, didn't like, and how you would do things different in that post. I look forward to seeing you there. Boom, done. That is a fantastic way to get communication with your learners, and then the parents see, hey, Miss Kristen didn't just post a bunch of information and walk away. I am still engaging with these learners. It is not through a live class, but I make sure every question gets an answer. I make sure to keep these students engaged through discussions each and every week. And I do discussions every single week with my students. And tip number 5 is ask your learners what they liked about the class and what they found the most valuable. For me, I always ask, are there any final questions? And they can write me on OutSchool. If they don't have any final questions, then I want to know, in their opinion, what was the most helpful thing we covered in the class? And as time goes on, you could, I did this, you could go and revamp some of your materials, your videos. If my learner said something really helped them, and I hear that feedback from a lot of learners, if I go back and redo part of my flex class, I will make sure I touch on that maybe a little bit more, give a little bit more information on it, because my students, my customers, are essentially telling me, hey, we really liked that. I do that both in my flex and my live classes, because at the end of the day, you are the product that they are buying. If you want to make sure they're getting what they paid for and you really want to see what they took home, what they really valued, and something you presented that they liked, ask them for it. All right, it's time for a quick pause, and I want to discuss the misconceptions of flex classes, because there are a few. The first one is it's all passive income. And trust me when I say it is not.
It is not.
From the very beginning of making a flex class, you have to, like we mentioned before, script, film, edit, put together not just lesson plans, but video modules, assignments, follow-ups, discussions. You have to take time and basically make a mini course, unless it's like 8 to 10 weeks and it's not mini in any regards. And then once it's posted, it's constant communication with the learners. You will have questions from the parents. If you are collecting feedback or assignments, making sure you get those, sending follow-ups to learners. It is anything but passive. I see why people think it's passive income because of the absence of live videos and live meetings in these classes. But you guys, please trust me when I say this. I didn't just make a flex class, post it, and walk away. I am in those classrooms every single Wednesday, every single Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, I answer questions and I make sure all of the upcoming assignments and class modules are going out to my students. Oh, and the second misconception is that all parents on OutSchool know what a flex class is. There will be many parents who will assume that flex classes do have live meetings, do have a set start time, and you will be explaining many times what a flex class is, how it works, and how you have set yours up for the learners that enroll. This is no shade against parents, nothing against OutSchool. This is just a misconception that I have noticed. I will talk later on how you can remedy this in a nice, polite business way, but that is a misconception I get all the time. Moving right along, let's discuss the best times to offer a flex class in my experience and this year. Pulling up the last 6 months of flex offerings, I have found that Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday are the best times to offer classes. I will also note that I offer mine 4 to 5 weeks in advance, minimum. So I am posting this video right now in January of 2023, and my flex classes still have options in March and April of 2023. I book way out in advance to give those families who, again, like we mentioned, have busy schedules. Maybe they plan well in advance and they want to know. Maybe little Timmy really wants to take your Lego Flex class, but they're in karate until March 1st, but you have offered your Lego Flex class every single week, Sundays, Mondays, and Wednesdays from January up until April. So they can go in and they can find a time that works for them, put it on their calendar, they're ready to go, they have made that time commitment. So again, Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday. Another thing I did want to cover is the best way to market your flex class. In my experience, the best flex classes are ones that also have a live option. Why is that important? So families can see, hey, Miss Kristen taught her live Lego class, but this student can't get in there because of their schedule. In the live, whether it's an ongoing or a one-time class, I can say in the description, if a family or student schedule, can't fit this live class, I also offer it in a flex pre-recorded course setup or a course option. That way they know, hey, the live may not be an option for schedules and availability, but she also offers it in a pre-recorded, packaged flex course option as well. So OutSchool teachers, if you have a class that is wildly popular, that you have had a lot of success in, that would be the class I would tell you to go and design a flex course for. Especially if you've already taught it to other learners, you know what things the learners have enjoyed learning in your classes, and you can make sure to hit those points in your flex classes. Last note on this, I do have an entirely separate video about all the ways I market all of my classes, flex and beyond. Check that out. That is still to this day how I market my classes. It is how I've been able to be a full-time OutSchool teacher for the past 2.5 years. Check that one out if you are looking for more unique ways to market any and all of your OutSchool classes. My best-selling flex class, information on it, it is 8 weeks long, and we do have a consistent schedule with learners getting video modules 1 day a week, discussions another day a week, and assessments on another day. So let's say your class starts on a Sunday. You can tell learners, hey, I'm gonna be sending out videos on Monday. We can do maybe chats about that video on Wednesday, and if you have maybe assignments, feedback, follow-up that are due from those learners, make that be Friday or Saturday. That way learners can get the material on Monday, and let's say Tuesday and Wednesday they are completely booked, they do not have time to do your assessments. That gives them Thursday and Friday, and they can send it in on either Friday or Saturday. That's the beauty of these flex classes, is students can tailor them to their schedule while having constant access to the class materials. And if you've made it this far into the video, here are my top bonus tips for flex class success. Number 1, have all the answers to your frequently asked questions in like a Google Drive or someplace you can easily access them. That way, when you get constant questions from parents about when is the start time of this flex class? When are the live meetings? Didn't really catch when you're meeting with my learner, you can have a pre-packaged, now you can obviously tailor this message. You can have correspondence to answer these questions in a professional, polite way. This tip can also go towards correspondence to your learners. So if you are going to teach your Lego Flex class, have all of your weekly modules, questions, and correspondence already typed out so you can copy and paste that to your learners each and every week. In my opinion, I want to be alert and in the present to answer any and all questions my Flex learners may have. I don't want to worry about, did I type out everything I need? Did I make sure I included all the important talking points? They are all organized in a Google Drive so I can see week 1, here's the link to our class, send. Wednesday of that week, here is our, discussion, boom. Friday, here is a place where they can send me their feedback or their assignments, and it's all there. I can copy and paste it. And my last tip is to use the schedule feature in your OutSchool class. If you did not know, when you go in to post correspondence to your learners, when you click post, there's also a schedule option. So if you want to make sure that your learners are getting all of your correspondence, maybe Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, you can go in and schedule it. That is not so you cannot be there to answer questions, absolutely not. But what happens if there's a power outage? You lose your internet. You want to make sure you are still there for your learners, showing up for them in the classes that they have paid for. Anyway, you guys, that is my video all about Flex class success in 2023. Let me know your thoughts and feedback all down below in the comment section. Be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe for new videos each and every week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!